Good morning or afternoon, wherever you happen to be. Welcome to MURAL Backstage Pass. My name is Mark Tippin. I'm the head of services with MURAL. My co-host in Germany is Haley Temple. She's a services lead with MURAL. And for the next 60 minutes, we're going to take you behind the scenes of a team work session. We encourage you to use the chat and the QA to offer comments and ask questions as we go. Make this as participatory as possible. Our goal is to help you gain confidence in using MURAL in a variety of use cases. With this program, MURAL Backstage Pass, we broadcast the work as it happens, and we hope that this inspires you to use your facilitation superpowers with your teams in new ways. To help get the most from today's session, Haley and I will be calling attention to any methods, MURAL best practices, and that type of thing. But really, the subject of today's session is quite exciting. We've got a full house here on the panel. So I'm going to see if I can get your name pronounced correctly. I've been practicing. With us, we have Jérôme, Lisa, Tom, and Robert. And the ballpark there, Jérôme?
That's Robert, actually. I
got Jérôme and Blue Robert.
We want to do a theme. We can do it that way.
There you go. Wonderful. Well, I'm going to turn it over to Haley and Wout, who are going to go into a little bit more detail here and kick us off in today's session.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mark. Thanks for joining us bright and early from your side of the world. Wout and I are in Germany right now, where we're happy to host a Euro-friendly edition of our session. We've had lots of requests from community members for a session that's European-friendly, and thankfully, our incredible MURAL community has stepped up and given us an incredible opportunity to share some work that's going on this side of the world. So right now, we're going to, I'll hand it off in a moment to our wonderful guests. But really what we're going to be focusing on is showing you guys how teams collaborate and do interviews and user testing, even though they're in completely different parts of the world. So our lovely guests here have been doing the Global Virtual Design Sprint, which I'll link down here to find out more about this work. But the team has been working really hard on a concept that they've created as a team using MURAL and other tools to connect and brainstorm and evaluate ideas from different parts of the world. And now you guys are going to see the team work together, still in different locations, still using MURAL and other tools, but able to get work done from anywhere. So I believe we'll have our teams, I think Lisa and oh gosh, Owen, oh God, I'm gonna slaughter your name, I'm so sorry. Doing the user interviews, and we have Wout with us doing as the interviewee. So with that, I'll pass it over to you guys and have you take it from here. Show us what we'll be doing and how things are going to work.
Okay, I wonder whether it's possible that I can share my screen with the rest of the audience. Haley? First of all, I would like to thank the MURAL team. I hope I pronounce it correctly, because I've heard different ways of pronouncing MURAL.
Moral. Much better.
Moral. Come on.
Moral, yeah, the moral MURAL. Well, I could tell you that working with so many different nationalities and cultures during the GVDS that Robert is curating, let's say, different pronunciations of names, of cities, of even brands like your brand, is happening day by day. So that makes it also a unique opportunity, I think, to join a GVDS like that. But once again, thank you for inviting us as a team to feature on this first European-centric Backstage Pass event. We feel privileged. I think that's one. Also because we have been so passionate about, let's say, the events that we have been working on over the last couple of weeks. Not just this one, but many of us have been participating in almost a 2-month-long process working with Robert on bringing the GVDS again alive in October and November. And just working on a sprint is just one part of it, but it's where you really accumulate all the energy and the focus on a topic together. So I welcome to be part of our world for an hour. And in the call, we also have Lisa and Tom joining us from the GVDS team. and Robert, of course, as an ongoing coach, mentor, and facilitator of the GVDS program during October. Let me just briefly introduce what we have been doing last week, all last week. So as a team of 6-7 people, we have been meeting on and on in a virtual session on exploring a topic. And our topic was actually, say, driven by purpose-driven employment. So how is the world changing? How are our professions changing if you would take a purpose-driven employment point of view in finding people, recruiting people, but also maybe finding your next job, your next gig as a freelancer, as a contractor, as a consultant. So we started there, let's say, in the whole design sprint process. And after 4 days, we actually delivered a prototype. And of course, it's not only about the prototype, it's about the journey that we went through. So it's not only gluing the team together and, let's say, really utilizing all the skills and capabilities of these people, but it was also really having the opportunity to showcase yourself on stage. So this specific sprint was also labeled as a talent sprint, where we created the opportunity for all the participants to really demonstrate and showcase the skills, the capabilities, the passions, the beliefs that they had towards each other, and therefore also, let's say, to the world around us. Also today, from my point of view, it's an opportunity for Tom and for Lisa and Robert, of course, to also demonstrate their skills and their capabilities in this live session, how to do a user test and how to do it. So the idea of today is that we will share with Wout a prototype that we developed and that we're testing now with multiple people, and Wout is one of them, but we wanted you all to experience that today in a live session. And it's really dangerous to fully demonstrate already what our problem was about, the solution was about, because actually we should be testing. But just for the audience, the problem statement that we worked with in this whole event, and I see here a small typo, so let's just correct that on here. So the problem statement was purpose-driven company recruiters are looking for the right motivated people, and they often have challenges to identify what motivates these new hires. So the new hires can make impact once they join their work, the new employer. It's important to solve this because it creates a better mental health and everyone can be more focused on being the best of him or her. So that was the challenge that we started to work on at the beginning of the week. We defined a kind of a what statement, understanding what motivates someone, where, when this is happening, when people want to make impact at work. Why is this so important? Because we believe it's better to focus on people's skills than only on filling in the role. And for who did we develop this prototype initially? The thought was that we would do this for company recruiters who are seeking the right motivated people. And you have to see that more from a holistic point of view. I don't want to go too far in everything, but what we're going to do in a minute is that Wout actually is the subject, and we will interview him as a general career professional, potentially looking for another job or maybe open to that. It's not that you are looking for another job, Wout, we know this. Lisa will do the interview, and myself, Tom and Robert, we will, at the bottom of this mural, live annotate what we see and hear during the interview. So for me, it's more like giving you a view on our world of collaborating in this mural, while Lisa is doing the hard work, and that's interviewing the subject. I would suggest that if there are questions about the sprint itself, if there are questions about the global virtual design sprint, that we leave that for the Q&A after this small demo, so that the next 20 minutes can focus on demonstrating how we use it as a team collaborating, and that we use the rest of the time to deep dive or maybe answer your questions on the global virtual design sprint, the sprint itself, or other questions you have about us working in MURAL. Is it okay?
Sounds great. Yeah.
Okay, then I think it's wise that Wout starts sharing his screen now so that he has the demonstrator in front of us. Lisa and Wout, I wish you good luck. Yeah. And the rest of us, we will start in MURAL annotating what we see and hear.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Cool. So I already sneaked about the link to our prototype. I'm going to skip the classic parts of the user interview that we do in the beginning, which is a bit of an introduction because we just got one, and asking background questions so that we don't go over time and give everyone enough time at the end to do the Q&A. So generally, I just want to say a few words about prototypes and what we're here to do, basically. So there are things in there that don't work, that have maybe maybe some substitutes for real things. There's nothing you can do wrong about. There is nothing you can break. I'm always here to help, and we would like you to give us just very frank feedback. So I personally didn't design this, so you cannot hurt my feelings or flatter me if you say nice things. So just please be very honest. Think aloud while you go through the prototype, and tell me about all the things you like, that you love, that confuse you, that you don't like. Just take it slow and explain as you go. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No, nothing. I'm excited for it. Curious to go on this journey that this page says here.
Very cool. Okay, I'll give you just a tiny bit of context on how you get to this page, and then we can get right into it. So let's say you're looking for a job, which you're obviously not because you already work at a very amazing company. So we're just going to pretend here today. Let's say you were on LinkedIn, you find something that really appeals to you, your skills and experience match well, you're very excited, and you go ahead and you click the apply button, and this is where you end up.
Okay. So it is like for a specific company that is using this QMax platform in a specific role even. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Let me see. So I found a role that I match. I come on this page, and I'm being asked to take a journey together. All right. Curious. Let's begin. Right. Okay. This was, we don't believe in resumes, we believe in you. I guess I was a little bit, how do you say that, confused or a little bit curious on like, hey, what is this? Like, this is not like a traditional way of like, of applying for a job. It's not like asking me to fill in some details, write a cover letter, send my CV or something. So that made me a bit curious. My first impression of this page is like, hey, this page is gonna explain why that is, why they don't do it in a traditional way. So we don't believe in resumes, we believe in you. Professional relationship is more than money and skills. Okay, so I'm being asked to take a moment to reflect on what matters most for me. That's great. I mean, that feels great, because then now I get the impression that that my hopeful future employer in this case really cares about what matters to me. So excited to do this. Let me quickly read what it says here.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I mean, from just scanning it, I just saw like around 10 minutes. That's all I need to know. That's fine. I have 10 minutes. I can get started.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on that page?
I will show you a video.
Things that stood out to you or that you don't like so much?
In general, like the first sentence got me really curious and kind of like confirmed, or like, how do you say it, reassured, like, hey, I am on the right page. It's not like something completely wrong. It's still about the application that I just applied for. But here it started by explaining me a bit why it didn't go that traditional way, but in a very, very brief way. Doesn't have like a long history of like, a traditionally you do things and we do things in this way, job applications. It's just very like, this is just like, what is it, 4 sentences, 3 sentences even. And it does give me an idea of like, hey, this is a different way of applying with like the right, I mean, like the right keywords in here. And I think this is like the thing that appeals to me most, or that attracted me the most in the end, or has maybe the most impact. It's like, hey, this company is really interested in what matters most to me. But how are we gonna figure that out? I mean, from this, why don't you take a moment to reflect? Like, I'm expecting like the next will be a few questions to answer, like a reflection that I have to submit in some way.
Okay.
So let's see. I'm ready. Let's go to the next page. So my time to reflect. There's a quiet, comfortable space away. Watch the video and think what you matters most in your life. Take a few notes. And you can move on when you're ready. All right. I am already in a quiet, comfortable place, so I can go watch this video. All right. So this is like a placeholder for that video.
Any questions around the video?
No, I guess. I mean, like, this is just part of the prototype, but normally it would show here a video to get me in the right mindset. Like, what did it say? Like, okay, I cannot go back to it. Like a meditation, or like a way to get me into the right mindset, thinking in the right mood, ready for the reflection.
Would you have specific expectations on a video like that?
I think the video should be quite to the point and concise. Like you said before, this is only gonna take 10 minutes, so I don't expect that video to take up 7 minutes of that probably. Then I might get out already. But on the other hand, I do like this fact of making it about setting you in the right mindset. Like you might be, I might, maybe I just come like from browsing on LinkedIn and being like up all night searching for job roles. I'm feeling quite stressed, maybe overwhelmed. I think taking this time before I start that reflection is very important for me in this case. So I do expect it to be, how to say, like changing my mindset at this moment a little bit, making maybe bringing me into the moment a bit more, rather than thinking about worrying about like, hey, I need a new job, I need something else. Like, hey, this is really about me now, not about all the jobs and all the things. It's time to reflect about me. So I would expect the video to bring me in that mindset.
Okay.
I guess after that, maybe like a short video. I'm ready to move on.
Okay.
All right, after taking time to reflect. All right, so now I thought like now we were gonna go more. Now I was gonna be taking through more of the reflection steps. I didn't realize I was gonna be in the video already, where there was like maybe like specific things to reflect on. So maybe taking my comments back to like the previous page as well. Like I would expect it then to maybe take me through like specific things to reflect upon, or specific areas.
Okay.
In order for me to answer these.
Yeah. So we kind of took the liberty to answer these for you because of the prototype.
All right.
I hope this works for you.
I was looking forward to fill them in. So
maybe you can tell me a little more. Yeah. Maybe you can tell me a little more about not necessarily your answers to them, but what you think about the questions in this context.
Let me see. Just looking at the questions. When I read these questions, it reminds me a little bit of like the Ikigai framework, right? In this case, it's maybe like 3 questions or 3 things that overlap. Forgot the Venn diagram, like things that overlap, like things that I really like, that I love doing, things that I'm good at, and things that I really care about, that are maybe also like good for the world. I feel like it's only like a limited amount of things, only 3 things, very simple, well, fairly simple, not too many things, but I do feel that this summarizes quite well what matters most to me. And this is not like talking about a job at all, like location, salaries, people that I would be working with, but really just looking at like about me, what do I like doing here. And I feel, for me personally, that is the most important. That is for me like the starting point, what I would want to be looking at from a job position. The rest is all like secondary benefits, like as long as it is something that I love doing and it matches with something that I'm good at, or that I want to develop in. That does it does suit that really well.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe like if I'm looking at that, like what are you really good at? Is that something that I want to? I mean, of course, the company wants to hire me for a job role that I'm really good at. There is also some aspect for me that I would like to take a job, I guess. Maybe I want to like apply to something what I wouldn't say that I'm like, well, I would probably tell the company that I'm really good at it, but it's something that I really want to develop in. That's just like a general thing that I'm thinking about with this question.
Okay.
All right, let me move on to the next page here. So I'm curious, let's see what's gonna come next. Continue our reflection. Okay, this is great. So the company did the reflection. Why are we doing this? Why do we start the business? We believe in feelings, design is everywhere. We need that to integrity. We question assumptions, we think deeply. At the same time, we do not want to cause unnecessary harm to humans or the environment. All right, interesting. Great to get that reflection back, get to know a little bit more about, like, I'm still in this reflective mode, but interesting to read now from the company, like how they are viewing this, so I can see if it matches my values. Would you like to see how your values and ours match up? Like, yeah, that's exactly what I was already like thinking about while I was reading this. Like, okay, hey, this is like, this matches quite well.
Okay.
But apparently there is.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, but I was gonna say, but apparently there is a comparison made already, or the platform is gonna provide a comparison as well. So I'm curious to see how that matches up. So actually, I'm just very eager to click on here. All right, so 87%. Okay, great. That's a great match, as it says here. Yeah, and I was thinking or hoping a little bit that there would be a little bit more behind it of why we are matched. But of course, both my reflection and the company's reflection were only like 3 sentences or so not much to compare with. But I was thinking a little bit around why is this a great match? Maybe having some like a few keywords or a few how do you say that, sliders or scores on like the aspect on why we are a great match would be great on this page. That it really says like, hey, we are 87. Okay, great. Because we both care about integrity, or we both care about design. We care about certain things. I think that would make this page even stronger for me.
Okay.
It would be then I would see, like, even on this page I would see more of that connection, because now I just see a number and like, hey, we are a great match. And I think by seeing that, by having more of an more data, more statements in there for me to really visualize that match, and like really some points for me to think in my mind, like, oh yeah, this is a great match. I would be even more strongly inclined, I think, to arrange a meetup, to like, let's meet in person. Love to invite you for some food or coffee. But I do, I do feel like in general this process was really nice. Like, hey, the company like didn't ask me to send my revenue for my resume or my or a job letter. They asked me like some personal questions to think about what I really want. Hey, apparently this matches what the company really wants and really values. So I would be really inclined and really interested to speak with someone about this, like see if this this translates to the people that I would be speaking to or working with potentially as well. So
Okay.
hey, I'm excited to meet people, arrange a meetup, see where that brings. Okay, wow, it even gives me some options already. Like let's get right into it, and it's not like, hey, we will get back to you when we have time. But it's really
No, you're a breakfast person, just so you know. You can't change
right.
it.
I am actually really a breakfast person.
There we go.
Meetings. Yeah, there we go.
Perfect. we knew this, obviously.
Yeah. So all right, let's see. I'm gonna be meeting with Ryan. Bagels and Juice is the meeting place, and all of this information that I'm sharing here will be shared. Okay, I understand. Let's request a meetup with Ryan. When I like to meet with people, when I meet with people, I do like to prepare and read up a bit about them, maybe see their LinkedIn profile or something. So for me, it would be great if I could see a bit more information about Ryan here, like perhaps like just a few sentences or a link to his LinkedIn profile or something like that.
Okay.
But for now, like, hey, this time works. Let's assume that. But also, if this time wouldn't work for me, like any of these two, like I would expect on this page to be able to say like, hey, this time doesn't work for me. Maybe to suggest another time, or leave a phone or email or something like that, so we can set it up in another way. I do really appreciate though, like that there's like already a few options here. Request a meetup. Thank you for requesting a meetup. Someone will be in touch very soon. All right, yeah, I'm looking forward to hear from somebody, I guess. But for now, I mean, I guess I'm just happy that okay. Now it says like, thank you for requesting a meetup with Ryan. I was almost under the assumption that the meeting was set now, that it was like that it was a done deal here. That I was gonna go for breakfast. Now I'm seeing like, hey, my breakfast is just a request. So a bit how do you say it, like, yeah, a bit confused here, but yeah, great, someone will be in touch very soon. And I guess that is the end of it.
It's the end of the prototype.
Right,
yeah. Not the end of my questions though.
No.
I have a few more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. So maybe you can tell me what surprised you about what you saw today, something that really stood out.
I think what surprised me, well, what stood out most, or what I remember the most, is like, hey, this is a new way of doing this, and this company really cares about what I love and what I would like to do. Like, hey, like already like that fact makes me super interested in this company and makes me interested in the humans that work at that company. So I would like to know more.
Okay.
So that fact is probably the most surprising.
If you had to explain this to a friend because you just used it, or you would recommend it to a friend, how would you describe it?
I would I would tell a friend probably like, hey, I just went through this like this amazing application process that is nothing like you have experienced before. It's rather than just me uploading a CV, writing a cover letter about like me, and like why am I a great fit for that company. It's really like just ask me a few simple questions on what I value in life and in a working relationship, and it matched that to actually the company values. And hey, we had a great match. So I went on to a different to a next step, which is a conversation with the hiring manager. Yeah, but yeah, that is like that is the process, and I would probably tell as well, like, hey, it's very I feel very valued in this way, like really, and listened to, and hopefully it would have shown me really when if we wouldn't be a match, if my values were different than the company, and we could have saved both of us time actually, because yeah, then it wouldn't make sense to have a conversation anyway.
Oh.
That's something that I'm curious about actually, like now that I went through this process, that I would love to go through the other side as well, if it was only a 30% match or something like that. That would be the experience then.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you. You've answered all of our questions. I and we as a team very much enjoyed sharing this with you and hearing your thoughts on it. Thank you for all the valuable input to me and my team. And now I'm going to hand it back to Jerome to show us how we use the mural in the interviews. Thank you, Ab.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you, Lisa. Oh. Thanks for guiding me through this.
Okay, thank you, Lisa, for the great interview. I hope that the others get a little bit of feeling of what the prototype was, but even more, let's say, to listen to what actually was shared. Whose cat is dying on the call? That's Lisa's. Lisa has a cat walking around, so that's great. Maybe if you see the screen again, and I'm just zooming out now to give you a feeling. Let's say actually 2 people in the call, myself and Tom, were annotating, but actually 2 team members were actually dialed in as well, not as panelists, but in the participants list, and they were live annotating as well. Andre and Bea were also working with the team. You might still see them. And what you actually see is that the observations are color-coded for each of the screens that we actually were discussing. And I was just thinking more for the exercise point of view and to demonstrate how we would be working with the results. Maybe Tom, maybe you can cluster the observation for screen 8. That's where the matching of the results, the 87% match, was actually being shown to Wout in the demonstrator. Maybe you can bring everything together and maybe reflect a little bit on, let's say, how positive, how insightful that part was. I will zoom in on that part when you bring the things together. So feel free to unmute yourself and think out loud while you are sorting using the mural at the moment.
All right. So, Wout, thank you very much for your comments and feedback during that little test there. I didn't take anything too personally while you were going through, which is great. So thank you very much, my friend. That's really good. So when we use kind of the mural board to cluster our results, what we'll kind of work in this kind of affinity method. So kind of working together as a team, we'll take the cards, which we have all kind of annotated and written up, and gather them, as you can see under that kind of this, I'm pulling the board apart, under screen 8 match result there. I'm just kind of having a little look around on the board to make sure that I've not missed anyone's comments here. And as Haron said, we've got color-coded tickets. So we've kind of got the green ones that show positivity, we've got the blue ones which show an insight, some informational statements and negative statements as well. So we've got them all clustered up top here. And you know, what we can see from kind of the positivity of your test is that you found the process really nice, that, you know, it didn't ask you for anything that you know, you didn't want to give away right off the bat, which was great. And that, you know, you'd be interested to carry it forward and speak to someone about it. You know, that in itself was really good, that you found that level of engagement with it. So that's really, really good. Especially not being asked for a resume, because, you know, we've all applied for jobs and we all know that it's kind of hard when you want to have to like root around to dig out your most recent copy. So kind of the way that you resonated with that was really good. Insights. So these are the things which we could take and help to inform an iteration of our prototype. So you'd like to see more about the match and why it came out like it did. Interesting, you know, especially the way kind of you described it around some particular functions and features, so scores, sliders, keywords, any factors that could add a bit of gravity to that for you. Let's have a see what else we've got here. Yeah, so it desires more data related statements, because all those will kind of add to the motivation to the person going through, take them through to a meetup. What else have we got here? 87% seems like a great match. Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. That's a kind of a decent place to get to, especially when we're walking through, as you say, 3 questions. You know, if you can find that affinity with somebody after only 3 questions, you're doing super good. Now, as a UX designer, the ones that really interest me are these red tickets. So these negative statements, because obviously if you're pointing out things that aren't working for you, that's the stuff we want to go through and try and pull out the detail there. So only showing the number doesn't make it a strong enough visualization of the match. Agree? You know, you're hoping for more information as to why. Yeah, we need to give some more grounding there, more data, more about the number, hoping for more information. Yeah, so this is all the all that stuff that helps build that picture up around around that match and what really gives it value for you. So yeah, that's kind of in summary, kind of a brief walkthrough at least of kind of where we would kind of go with that. And yeah, Haron, back to you, my friend.
Thank you for summary. Of course, this was on the screen number 8, where the 87% match result was being demonstrated. But I hope that all participants or all viewers of today can understand that if you go to a demonstrator like this or a prototype like this, you do actually this exercise per screen, and you're trying to identify the qualities, but also the improvement opportunities that you see there. And of course, in a design sprint, it becomes even more relevant because the insights that we gather here are very critical in later in the process, which we can't demonstrate to you now because we haven't completed our user testing completely, but whether we are actually fulfilling the sprint questions in an appropriate way. So we formulated sprint questions at the beginning of developing this prototype. I think it's safe to go there now. And one of them is for instance, let me just scroll there, and I hope you can see that a little bit with me, but here, one of the sprint questions is, can we create an environment where being honest and open is safe and valued? So as an example from the interview with Wout, do we believe that the insights that we've gathered through this user test on the different screens, not only on usability, but also how he talks about, how he feels about it, is that giving us insights about this sprint question? Or can we make recruitment processes less awkward so that you can get to know each other in a more informal way instead of the traditional way? Something that I like very much that Wout said is that he was glad that he wasn't being asked to submit his resume. That already, let's say, gives a symptom of or a signal that he perceives it that different than the traditional approach. That he's looking forward for a conversation or a meetup at a breakfast place somewhere in his town or elsewhere. So the user testing can give you insights to validate some of these questions. So the only thing we try to do here is, with some of our team members here in the call and also remotely participating, is to give you a feeling of how we're using Mural to annotate here during a user test. Sometimes we use video recordings, so we watch the recording and then offline we annotate instead of doing it real time together. But this was a real live example of how this could be done as well on the spot. So thank you, Wout. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Tom. And I would like to give it back to Mark, maybe to see if there are questions coming in that we can help to answer.
You bet. Thank you very much. It was fascinating to see it happen in real time as well. Let's see. So I think if I share, it'll preempt your share. Let's see. All right. Let me know if you can see.
Yep, I can see their screen. And for those of you who are on the call too, we're back in that canvas, the initial canvas we shared with you. So that's where, thankfully, Mark was doing some capturing, some notes taking as well. So I think That's what we're going to go through right now, right, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to show just a variation. I love, having the template set up in the Global Virtual Design Sprint canvas and an entire team, each assigned a role. Sometimes when you're doing this type of user interviewing, it's really helpful having people looking at the kind of the facial and the emotional quotient that happens over time. You have someone else that's looking for keywords and different aspects of it. And if everyone focuses has a role on what to look and listen for, some people are looking for technical things that are noted about the UI or color, that kind of stuff, then you really get this rich capture on the fly. I just wanted to mention, since this is unrehearsed, I was like, I'm not sure how they're going to capture. Just on a chance that we need it, I just wanted to highlight a tool that we can't live without at Mural, Snagit by TechSmith. And what this allowed me to do is, in the screen share, I set up a rectangular area around where the prototype was. And once I pick that area, I can just do a keyboard like Command R. And so every time the screen changes, Command R will put that screen into my copy buffer, and I can just paste it directly into Mural. And then below, I can just double click and start typing notes. And using the tab key, I'm able to pretty much keep pace with what the person's saying as you type. So if you're looking for ways to capture notes, just typing, and the tab key will advance and add notes on the fly. So so I just wanted to mention that. I'm also looking through the chat window. We don't have any questions right now in the Q&A, so I just wanted to see if there's anything. I'll just invite our viewers, if someone has a question about the process we saw, about conducting user testing, about capturing notes around this stage of the process, drop it into the chat window. While we're waiting for something to show up there, I'd like to reflect it back and have the team reflect on, this is yet another opportunity to do this type of virtual work and virtual user testing. And I'd like to say, is there anything different about this time from previous sessions, and what can people be looking for? How do you prepare? What are some of the gotchas that you need to anticipate when you're doing this type of user testing virtually?
Lisa, can you say something about it? Because you're doing also the offline user testing at the moment,
Yeah.
and carry them forward into the team.
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest challenges I have faced during the last few user tests is just having a good connection. It really is. We have great tools. We use Zoom. We have the Mural to capture everything, and we share the videos from Zoom so that everyone can watch them. So all of those tools work very perfectly. But it is really just the connection with the person that you're actually doing the user test with. That's been the main challenge. I think other than that, some people are just easier to talk to than others. That's also just the thing. But if you're the interviewer, well, you just kind of have to get them talking. So sometimes you need a few more questions in the beginning before you even get into the prototype, to just get people comfortable to speak, especially on a video if they're not used to that, because you're recording and all those things. So just get them to be a little more chatty.
Yeah, I was going to say, Wout, how often do you do think aloud testing? Because you're a pretty good role model for people about being and verbalizing, and even the alternate use cases. Oh, I was anticipating this. I'd love to go back and see how this happened. Oh, at this point, I loved especially at the end all the color you added around where you felt such trust through the prototype with the company and built this rapport that it was a bit of a break in that trust at the end when you realized, oh, I've just requested the opportunity to maybe meet with someone. I thought we were best buds. I thought it was a done deal, right? I thought we were on. I thought I'm gonna look this guy up or this person up on LinkedIn and be ready with some conversation topics, and you're like, oh, it may not happen. So that's the juice I love about user testing. You find out the emotional state behind just people clicking on buttons.
And on the flip side of that, Lisa, you did a great job, I think, pausing too. Doing user tests, sometimes it's very tempting to fill empty sound with your own thoughts because you're nervous. You know, this is kind of like your baby that you're putting out into the world. But I think you did a good job prompting to asking, you know, what did you expect from this screen, or what would you expect from that video, or just giving Val the space to add rather than to fill. So that was really nice too to see, just for what good looks like for user testing. And we do have more questions in the
We do. Yeah, I was gonna highlight Patrick Lewis asks, how much prep do you usually have to do with a tester in advance to prepare them for this process?
So we only saw the actual prototype testing right now. I usually have another 15 minutes or so before that, where I introduce myself, the team, the challenge we've been working on, why we are even talking to random strangers, basically, and what this is all about, and then give them a bit of context, around all of those things. And then just start off with easy to answer questions, things like, tell me a little bit about yourself. Maybe if I'm the only one in a call recording it, I'll ask them to just quickly introduce themselves to the rest of the team that will watch the recording later. Definitely ask about the recording before you hit the button. But then, just kind of get into a friendly chat that is already around the topic. So I'll ask stuff like, if you were looking for a job, where to go, what would be your dream job, just to kind of get them thinking about it, and then dive into the prototype.
So that's a really great point too. I think sometimes we forget that we're in the moment with a person, but really once you get permission to record the video, the value is that this video also becomes a firsthand source for the rest of the team. And so prompting a little bit and letting them know, one, that it is recorded is vital, but then also inviting them to share a little bit about themselves really helps that person, that empathy with that person build when the team might be looking at this next week or in a couple days or offline or in some other context. So I love that tip. Another question, how often would you use this versus face-to-face testing?
Hard to answer. So for me personally, I like remote testing because it gives me the opportunity to talk to way more people than I would have in my immediate vicinity. And because the tools are so great and easy to use, it just makes it so much easier. There's a lot less logistics involved. I've done user testing with people that would have to come to an office building downtown, and then you have to go downstairs and get them, find the nice room for them to have to feel comfortable enough. People are just way more comfortable if they're in their own home or a coffee shop that they chose, than they are going somewhere. So I personally like the remote testing, but maybe some other people can chime in too.
Nope, I second that. This is Robert. I'm full 100% remote, virtual remote testing, user testing, just because of all the points that Lisa raised. Less friction, less logistics. It's a lot easier to reschedule. The compensation is all digital, so you really don't have to exchange any like hard cash. And you don't run the risk of somebody coming in and either being late, keeping people late after, especially if you're in a physical location. There's just a lot of inherent advantages to it. And this is coming from somebody who has a user research background of God knows how many years. But yeah.
That's awesome. And so thank you. That was Joanne had asked that question. And Mark, thanks for capturing the notes in real time too. That'll be good. If you guys who are on the call today want to reference this Canvas later, you can as well, since you have it open. Let me see. I have another question we had from Robert. This is your question. Who?
Our plant.
What are you doing? Yeah, this is like a nice softball for you guys. So I know Lisa, you're saying you're doing some tests like this in real time, but knowing that you guys are in different locations and different continents, how do you take all the results from this user testing and compile it into a report from Mural. So talk us through that.
Yes. How do you do that? I would like to know.
Yes.
So we haven't finished our testing yet. So I might not actually be the best person to answer this. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Maybe
New
an insight I have.
endeavors.
Wasn't such a bad question after all, was it?
It's a great question, Robert. Thank you, Robert. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm not going to go down that route. Somebody's going to hang up right now on this webinar. I'm not going to.
I think it's also I think it's also a tricky question, Lisa, because I think the answer is not. You don't take it out of Mural. You make sure that you work in a structured way in Mural, so that you can capture actually the conclusions there, the insights, the observations, and you can share back if needed also with a customer or a stakeholder that's involved. I think the beauty of Mural is that, okay, maybe there's spelling mistakes in there. Maybe someone uses the wrong colors, but quite easily you can correct that. And I think in general, it's a very visual way of sharing back. And I think it gives you the high level insights already instantly. So I would almost stimulate not to create a separate report out of it. And if already, it's probably fractions of the Mural as screen clips, as exports, as PDF exports, or as JPEGs that you can put in a report, but not really taking the content out of Mural. I have to say, I do a lot of things in Mural, and I think I hardly ever export through content out of Mural in a different format. I use what I create there, and that creates enormous impact already with other stakeholders.
And what can you say more about that? Why does it create impact versus exporting it? You said from Mural, as you say. I like the way you say it. It's much fancier than how I say it.
What I experience a lot is that we are so, let's say, initially we're so trained to digest information and then regurgitate information again in a different format in order to align to a certain stakeholder or audience. What I experienced is by having a much more visual representation of all that you have been working on and the categorization, you can actually talk to different audiences with the same content, with what you have created in the process, in the event. And I think people are much more visually oriented than sometimes they actually acknowledge. So it helps them to digest the information faster and go to the core faster than if they have to sort it out in a report that is text-based again with some graphs and things like that. So that's what I experience, whether it is in these design sprints, but also in some of my consultancy assignments, some of the brainstorms I do with leadership teams. I think giving them back what they've put on the board themselves, maybe styled a little bit more, creates more impact than having a Word report or a PDF report of text and a few visuals.
If I may answer my question, if I could, I have thought on it. So my experience as a consultant, the most valuable thing that the clients have that I have is that the most valuable thing for clients is time. So I tend to defer to basically having a 10-minute conversation over the phone about the overall impressions. They ask a few questions just to clarify their understanding of things, and then they assume that a high-level executive summary report will come out. Then if any teams do want the details, then I take the time to actually create something that's a little more in depth, because they've demonstrated direct impact to something they're working on for a specific piece of the research results that I've done. I've been down the road of doing 60, 70, 200-page decks with lots of graphics. Sometimes it's been in conjunction with Mural, and really all they wanted was to answer two simple questions. And that's happened enough so that now I do it by default. I just go, okay, we're all set with user testing. We're set. Let's do a debrief over the phone real fast. I'll give you what you need to know. And then you tell me who I need to talk to and what information they need. And it cuts down on a lot of extra work that I may need to do. And you have a more real conversation about the results in a way that may lean towards your own bias towards the results, but they're going to get the results anyway later on for their own reference because they paid for it. But at least initially for that conversation and communicating what they need to know, I find that a conversation.
That's awesome. So I guess to summarize So what I'm hearing from both of you is that being able to capture it in this way, in a very visual way, it might feel and look a little bit messy, but it creates a sense of transparency. And I think what I'm hearing is also ownership by giving people an opportunity to add or contribute to what's already there. And also it saves you guys time. So transparency, ownership, time saver, I guess are my three big, what I'm hearing from you guys. So, which is awesome. I mean, I think, of course, at Mural, we love using the tool. We work here, but it's fantastic to see you guys out in the wild on GVDS and using it for all different types of exercises and being able to connect around the world. So I know we're almost out of time. I wanted to give you guys just thank you so much. This is what I also want to say. Thank you. Sorry, I'm right now under a stairwell in Cologne, so I'm truly working from anywhere. But I really wanted to thank you guys so much for sharing and giving us some insights into how you can use Mural in combination with lots of different tools to get work done from lots of different locations. I also wanted to give those of you on the call, so Klaus, Nico, Olivier, a chance to share with us.
Oh, I think we lost her.
Because we'd love to have more of these for you guys in the EU. And oh, you lost me?
No, you're back. You're back now.
Okay, I'm coming back towards the Wi-Fi. Go ahead, Mark.
So I'm just going to say, but we're right near the top of the hour.
Yeah.
I want to give Jeroen an opportunity to thank everyone. Before we go, I put an appeal for feedback into the chat window to all of our attendees. Please, before you go, we really love and live off feedback. So a number from 1 to 10, 1 being this was a total waste of time, to 10 being the most profound thing I've experienced yet in my life. Well, maybe not that high, but somewhere you get the idea. 1 is bad, 10 is great, and 11. And 11. Yeah, I'd love to see a Spinal Tap 11 if someone goes to 11. And just a short description about why, right? Why that number? We really rely on this feedback for our improvement. And I wanted to now just pass it back to Jeroen, who wanted to say a few words.
Oh, and really fast, if any of you have feedback on where Haley should go in Germany, do put that in as a bonus with your feedback.
There you go.
We have your impressions on what's going on with what you felt and thought about this presentation, and then also with Haley's travels, so that she can find good Wi-Fi and post up what she's doing. Now, Jeroen, please go.
Okay. Just before we go, I think it would be nice to recognize all the people that have participated in our design sprint over the last week, and not just the 2 that were here in the call, Lisa and Tom, but I also want to recognize Anna Reinders from Germany, the amazing Sandy Lam, who was our facilitator, not just for this sprint, but probably for 50 other ones, and all the templates that Robert has distributed over the GVDS program. Beye Bahij, also from, I think, Berlin or Leipzig as well. Andre from Berlin at the moment, great creative facilitator and annotator in the sprints. Adriana from Amsterdam and Tom from the UK. All of you, thank you for making this design sprint, this talent sprint, and this demonstration effect as well. Otherwise, we couldn't have done it. I wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving in the US, and hope to see you soon, somewhere in the cloud using
You bet. You bet. Thank you very much. Have a great day, everyone.